webinar is basically just based on my experiences this semester and sort of how I've been using video to help our students when they're not in the classroom. And so I'll kind of just go through what I did, but I see a bigger application for this, not just in my one particular math class. So my story, so the challenge was, I teach math. When students are outside the classroom, they email you, oh, I'm having a problem, page 52, question number 18. It's really, really difficult to answer mathematical questions through email. And then, you know, student schedule, my schedule, it's really hard to meet up in a timely fashion. So I met with a couple people down in the hub and said, this is my problem, I need a fix for it. And the solution was to use an iPad. They have these fancy styluses, and the Explain Everything app, and a YouTube account. It's very easy, and I'll kind of explain everything that I did this semester. So how did I use this technology? So I answered math problems like I suggested. So students would email me throughout the day, at night, whenever I would respond to them. I would make a video. I would use the app, and I'll demonstrate that in a couple minutes. Upload the video to YouTube, share the YouTube link with the students, and they'd be able to get the video through their email. I always do this with my students, and everybody's more comfortable with the amount of support that they provide their students outside the classroom. But the day before a test, doesn't matter what course I'm teaching, I always say, I'll check my email before I go to bed if there's any last minute burning questions. And I did the same thing with the video. I brought the iPad home with the stylus, and a couple times students emailed me, oh, I'm really stuck on this question, can you please help me out? I would do a 2-minute video, send it their way. They would feel that they got their answers, and then they can continue working on the questions before the test. So I first started just answering students' emails, but they were like, oh, this is really awesome. I really enjoy the video that I can rewatch. So I started to get ahead of the curve and record some videos before the material that I presented. So I kind of have that ready to go, and I would post it to Moodle. So that was really helpful for the students. The feedback that I got from the students, it was really sweet of some of them. So Diane actually and I co-teach the course with another faculty member, and so we have about 200 students this semester. So as I was doing the video, I would post to Diane and I have a meta shell, and Allison would post to her Moodle as well. And I had students come up at the exam and say, oh, Amy, thank you so much for those videos. They really liked the personal touch, because I mean, there's a million math videos online, but they liked that it was their teacher, their content when they wanted it, right? So you can the numbers speak for themselves here. So I pulled this data from our Moodle shell. So I did 3 videos for test 3 review questions, 132 views for 75 users. So that course, that meta shell between Diane and I probably had, it's probably about half the students, I would say, watched it. I'm not sure why they didn't watch, less users watched review number 2 and number 3. I think because that first, I focused the majority of the difficult questions in that first one, but the data just kind of speaks for itself. And as the semester went on, students got more used to that the videos were there. So word of mouth, that sort of thing, they'd see them and watch it there. So if a student emailed me and said, I'm having problems with this question. So when I do the demonstration here, I would say, when I uploaded the video, I would say, hi, Lori, thank you for your question. Hope this is going to be helpful. I would go out and do, I would go ahead and do the video. I would send it to them. But when I started realizing that the technology and the videos were helpful, I would start posting it to Moodle before, and I wouldn't email the whole group. It was very individual and personalized. Okay, so this is the iPad. So Explain Everything is the app I used. There are a whole bunch of different apps that you can use, so whichever one is that you're most comfortable with. This is the one I enjoyed. So I'm going to do a new project. There's a whole bunch of different, you can actually upload the file. So I started doing that when I was preparing the video. So if it was a review questions, or I can always pull from the files from wherever so that they're typed out. But let's just do a blank canvas. So up here you can see that there is a record button. So I would prepare my questions. So let's say I'm going to do 2 plus 3. That's my question. I would push record. So as it is recording right now, so I can voice over as I'm writing. So 2 plus 3 equals 5. As I don't know, let's do something. 2 times 3 equals 6. Okay, 3 minus 2. So you guys get the idea here. Equals 1. So as I'm talking, it's recording. I push stop. So now I have that video. What I can do now is I can save it. I can export it as a video. And it's just going to ask me here, you can see it says video or a document, image, project. I would save it as a video on the iPad. Once I have that video saved on the iPad, I can go into photos. There's a whole bunch of photos here, or videos here, but then up in the top right corner, you can see that there's an upload, the one with the arrow beside the heart icon. That will actually get you to, ask you to upload it to YouTube. So you'll see here, I have some examples. So here's my YouTube account. All you need for a YouTube account is an email. So this is actually my professional, amy.cliff@camerooncollege.ca. And here, this was right before test number 3. So a student asked me about conversions. So I'm just going to pause it here because there's a little bit of a lag. The student here asked me about conversions. I really quickly did a little video, uploaded it, and then I shared the link. So there's a couple options in YouTube. You can make things public, private, or unlisted. So I like using, at the moment, I like using unlisted, which means anybody with the link can actually view only people with the link can view the video. As I get a little bit better with this and more comfortable, I can make them open. I can make a whole YouTube channel around it. I mean, the possibilities are endless here. So I could have a pre-health math YouTube channel.
Couple questions, Amy, from the chat. So I had just mentioned that the app that you're showing, Explain Everything, it's a free app that people can use. However, it's sort of like a limited edition free app. We have the full version licenses available here in the hub, so if you do want to try it out with all of the features, you can just talk to Orville or Rob, and they can set you up with a full version license. And then the other thing, Lori had mentioned the whiteboard option in Zoom. So the tool that we're using right now for this webinar is called Zoom, which is different than the iPad app that Amy is showing. But if you are to do such video demonstrations using Zoom, if you do have a Zoom account, there is a whiteboard option. And I think for you, Amy, actually, that's a good question, Lori, because I think you're probably mentioning like the free Zoom account. So I think there probably is a whiteboard option in the free Zoom account, but let me look into that for you. I was thinking that you had to have the full version of Zoom as a license, like what we're using for this webinar, but there is a free version of Zoom as well. So I'll look into that, Lori, and let you know. So just as an aside, if you want to use Zoom as your video recording software, you can also record as we're doing right now with this webinar.
Yeah, and that was one of the hurdles, I would say, especially as someone, I'm starting to be more comfortable with learning new technology, but there are different applications for whatever you want to do. So whether it's Explain Everything, I had explored a couple others. I personally like the interface with Explain Everything. I thought it was very intuitive. I could, because I didn't have a Zoom account, we're on Sarah's Zoom account right now, I was able to do this, borrow the iPad, that sort of thing. But again, there's a variety of applications, apps, that sort of thing, for whatever anybody wants to do. One of the other things that if you're thinking, oh, I don't have a fancy iPad or a nice stylus, I did use my finger one time and it was all right. I did bring the iPad home, but my stylus was dead and then the charger was here on campus. I just set up my smartphone with a regular pencil, and I recorded myself writing the math, and I sent that to the students. So you don't have to have a fancy equipment to use the, I suppose the smartphone is a little bit fancy, but most people have smartphones these days. And it was very, the students got what they needed. I apologized for not having the fancy equipment. The next class, they said, "Oh, it was great." So, Sarah, did you want to talk a little bit about the applications beyond math?
Sure. So basically, what Amy is doing in her class, responding to students using video through email, through YouTube, through Moodle, anyone can do that in their class. And the tools are free. The tools are available. Anyone can access them. So to begin, some of the screen capture programs you can use, if you want to write this one down, if you're not familiar with it, it's called screencast-o-matic. Screencast-o-matic, and I'll put a link in the chat to that, and that is a free tool that anyone can use. So it's just a web-based tool. You go to screencast-o-matic.com, you click start the screen recorder, and it just works on your computer, and then you press record, and anything you're demonstrating on your screen, you can also narrate over top, and it basically highlights your mouse as you're moving around the screen, so your students can see where you're clicking, and you can talk to it as you're doing it. So screencast-o-matic is the first one I would recommend. If you're looking to do a little bit more advanced video editing, if you want to add annotations, arrows, transitions, slides, things like that to a video. So if you want to take it sort of the next step further, you can look into using a tool like Camtasia. And Camtasia is not a free tool, but we do have it available here in the hub. It's on our computers. We do have a laptop, and we can get you set up and show you how to use it. So it's sort of like next step to just a basic screen capture. And then another tool that I discovered just recently, if you have Windows 10 on your laptop or your desktop computer, there's this kind of like little known secret of Windows 10, and there's an application on there called Steps Recorder. So in your search bar, if you just type in Steps Recorder, there's a tool that you can use, and it basically records the things that you're clicking on your computer. So what that looks like is, say I'm trying to demonstrate how to do something in Microsoft Word, for example. So you can open up Microsoft Word, start that steps recorder, and as you're clicking around on your screen, it'll take screen captures of everything that you're doing, and it actually pre-populates some of the text. So it'll say like, step 1, click on this thing, step 2, do this, step 3, and it's like the easiest thing that you can do to explain to students. And the only thing that it doesn't have is the video option. So this is more of just like, here's some text and some graphics, go. And because it's not video, you can't really do a voiceover narration on top of that. So if you just need to do something really quick, click, 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 you can go. And if you have any questions, I muted everyone just as we're going, but feel free to unmute yourself if you do want to jump in and ask a question. So those are the screen capture programs that I would recommend. And as we're talking about the things that you can do in your classroom, we really want to emphasize that with as much or as little technological knowledge that you have, anyone can do this. So we want you to feel like it's not an unreachable, undoable thing that that if you've never done it before, that you can't do it. So we want to emphasize that it is easy, and we're here to help if you do need that first step to get started. So with regards to being portable and mobile, Amy talked about setting up a YouTube account. Anyone with an email address, like she mentioned, can create a YouTube channel. The way that Amy's doing it for some of her stuff is that you can create your videos as unlisted, so you don't need to make public videos right off the hop. And what that means is when you create a video and assign it as unlisted, only someone who has that link that you send them can open that video. So it's not like you can search on YouTube publicly and find that video. So it's just kind of a nice way to hide those videos from anyone that you don't want accessing them. The other thing about YouTube that's really great is if you want to take it a next step further, which it's actually a recommended thing, is to clean up some of the closed captions on there. So for accessibility reasons, one great thing about YouTube is they automatically generate closed captions for you. So Amy, when she's doing her narration of her videos, it'll capture all of that in text. So a student who does need some accessibility with regard to audio, they can turn on the closed captions and just read it as Amy's going through. Or even if they're in a busy coffee shop, like I think of accessibility in terms of everyone, like that's universal design for learning. So having closed captions for anyone who needs it is always a good thing. And the great thing about YouTube is like their closed captions, the automatically generated ones are like 98% accurate. So, I mean, very little is needed to clean those up because YouTube does a great job. The technology is really, really good. And then the other thing with being portable and mobile, as Amy mentioned, is you don't need a fancy laptop or like a screen recording thing. Like you can just use your phone, and Amy will show some examples of that as well. And say you don't have a phone or you don't want to use your phone, well, we've got webcams here. We can set you up on a laptop or a desktop. Any of the grade cam cameras that you see here in the hub, those are actually just regular webcams. So if you want to come down to the hub and set it up on a desk, just as it is now, just use the built-in Windows screen recorder and go. So it's a pretty cool little setup. And that kind of speaks to the no fancy technology needed as well. So
can I just ask a quick question, Sarah?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was trying to do this year with my virtual students especially, but all of my students, is giving them options for assignments, UTL style, right?
Yep.
So I want them to be able to do a video assignment and upload those. So, but one of the things that the challenge for me was, because I don't know all of the little, the technical ins and outs of how to do that, it was hard for me to advise them on how to do these things. And then I found that Moodle, they couldn't upload, there wasn't enough storage on Moodle and that kind of. I wonder if you guys could speak a little bit to how we can, if I had some way of giving students like a quick tutorial on how to, so that they can, if they want to upload, video assignments, where to do that in the best way. Like we ended up finding a workaround this semester, but I didn't really feel confident that I knew, the best way to advise them on how to submit these kinds of assignments. Like for example, someone wanted to use, their phone and videotape or like record themselves talking over their assignment, but they couldn't upload it to Moodle, and I couldn't even tell them on how to get that from their phone to their computer. So I wonder if you guys could speak a bit about that.
Yeah, so an option outside of Moodle could be like Dropbox. Anyone could create a free Dropbox account, and it's pretty generous with the amount of space that you can use. The other thing that I'd recommend is Google Drive. So I'm just thinking of like, what are the quick, easy web-based solutions? And anyone with a cell phone, that share button that Amy was showing you on the iPad, like even if you're using an Android or an iPhone or anything in between, there's always that option to share. So that's sort of your quick upload option. And Dropbox and Google Drive and YouTube are usually the top 3 ones in that list. So if they don't have a YouTube account, like they don't need to create a YouTube account because that's just one extra step. But if they have Dropbox, they can, put it in there, send you the link. If they have Google Drive, put it in there, send you the link. So all it is just, it's still being hosted on the web. You're not using up space in Moodle. You're not creating a YouTube account, but you have those 2 other options to explore.
Sorry to interrupt, Sarah. There is a webinar tomorrow on OneDrive, and Microsoft Online as well tomorrow morning. It's called Forget the Flash Drive. So it's basically your online storage for that sort of thing. And Orville and Rob are going to be speaking to that in webinar as well. So if that's something that you're maybe exploring, because they would know more about if the students have access to that as well. It might, and it's supported on campus, the Microsoft Online. So that might be a good approach.
Yeah, good point, Amy. So the solution that Orville and Rob are presenting tomorrow is a Microsoft-based solution. So it's using Microsoft 365, I believe it's called, which all students have access to as Cambrian College students, and staff too, like faculty and staff. Everybody has access to Microsoft 365. So yes, OneDrive is another option. And like Amy mentioned, it is supported by IT. So if anything goes wrong for your student in that whole process, IT will help support that. However, if you're using a third-party service like Dropbox or Google, that's not supported by IT. So that's the only difference there. So I would recommend, like Amy mentioned, if you're interested in looking for other storage solutions for your students, is to check out that other webinar that's happening tomorrow.
So moving forward, this experience this semester, since the student feedback has been so great, it's really had me reevaluate how I'm going to design my courses. I keep hearing from Jeff, our video guy, like video is the way that a lot of education is moving. Even if like YouTube is one of the biggest search engines that people, how do I make gingerbread cookies, that sort of thing. There's a whole bunch of things on YouTube. So I'm really rethinking how I'm designing specifically my math course, but any course, there's lots of application for video. H5P is a free Moodle tool that we have that makes the videos interactive. So I can see application there for it. Like Sarah talked about the closed captioning and increasing, thinking about universal design for learning. But some of the things throughout the semester that we've chatted about as I share these videos with my colleagues is, does this encourage, so providing these, and specifically talking to my worked out solutions for math, is this encouraging the students not to show up to class? And having a class and then providing the videos afterwards. So those are some of the questions. A question to consider when using video. I didn't see an issue with it in my class as my students got used to me posting videos for them on Moodle afterwards. But we are talking about customizable, flexible learning. And there really is no replacement to the actual teacher student in person. So I didn't really see as opposed to any other year that I wasn't using video, that students weren't coming to class. I don't think the videos being provided to them were a deciding factor for them to not show up.
Add to that, Amy, I've used video this year too for the first time. And so what I did for English was, there are some key, things that I just tend to be repeating over and over and over in class. So I made little snippets of video, and my class was not, virtual, not on these regular in-class English classes. And it was awesome just having those little mini 2-minute lectures just in Moodle, so that when students are studying for a test or, you know, I could refer to them. Oh, Lori, I forget how to do this. I'll say, go watch the video, right? Instead of me having to do another lecture. I found it reinforced the stuff that I had already taught, and provided an option for students. You know, so if you missed class that day, you didn't necessarily miss the entire, or sometimes need to hear things 3, 4, 5 times.
Exactly.
Right, before or while they're doing it, right? Have the video up while they're doing the assignment. So I didn't find for those, I just did two little ones just to kind of, you know, try it out. And I didn't find that it kept students from class.
Yeah.
I found actually it helped them to work from home better, right?
Yes.
Add that content. So it was awesome. Yeah. Now
and because it's cool. I've been seeing all the stuff that Sarah's been doing with it, and yeah, so I don't think it's a you know, discouraging students from coming to class. I also think that, again, you know, we say things in class and the students can, in particular with math or English or whatever you're practicing, but they still need more support, and I feel it's supporting the students outside of our classrooms as well. And they really, really liked that personal touch, because as you can imagine, like I said, there's lots of math tutor channels on YouTube and websites and that sort of thing, but it was our content, their professor. That's what they liked about it. I mean, when they emailed me, that was even an extra step of personalization. But as I posted the videos to YouTube, it was still Cambrian content, right? And as a group, does anybody else see any advantages or disadvantages to this approach? I mean, I've become more comfortable being on camera, and this was a nice way to start with just my voice being on camera. You know, if I was going to show how to do I don't know if I was using some sort of machine. I know Serge in trades, he also has seen the amount of questions students have. He's been using video in a neat way where there's QR codes. They use their cell phones to look up how to use that piece of equipment. And the amount of questions that he gets for his labs have gone way down because they watch the video. The equipment isn't being damaged because students aren't, they're actually looking how to use the equipment. So are there any other advantages or disadvantages as a group here, small group here, that you guys can foresee or think of? I can tell you that when I first started doing the video, I tried doing them right in Moodle, and I had some issues because there's storage issues, and also so the group forums, for example, you can upload videos in those little forums. Okay. There's a real limit to how much you can put. There's real limited storage in those forums, and also students can't access the video unless they're using Chrome or Firefox, and it took me a while to kind of figure that piece out. So I like your idea of having it an outside link. Yeah. Right inside Moodle. I mean, ideally that would be nice, just have everything right in Moodle, but I don't think there's enough storage, and I don't think the tech can support it. I don't think so either. And the other thing that I like about YouTube is I can go in after. I can make them public. I can make them unlisted. Now that the semester's over, I can go and I can shut down all the links if I wanted to, so that it's not living inside Moodle. I can shut the links down and nobody has access to my videos anymore. So students.
Hi, it's Brenda. I think I see an application here for our students who are out on clinical placement and doing comprehensive review. Currently, we just do it through Moodle with, you know, some assignments and test questions and PowerPoints. But I think that they would be more engaged in their own review because they have to get ready for that national certification exam at the end. So I think that we could see where somebody could use video just to kind of keep them engaged. Maybe not every week, but certainly, you know, 2 or 3 times over the semester.
Or having demonstrating some of those skills, right? Just having them available so they can review them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see some application too where we get Jeff set up in the room with your equipment, and just a quick snippet, and you can even change those text-based questions into a question about I don't know your equipment, but whatever piece, I know. Or a specific position, have it more visual and I mean, if whoever wants to be on camera, it doesn't have to be one of the faculty members. It can, I mean, you can.
Actually, saying that if we were to use a student as a simulated patient and asking those types of questions, would they have to give a waiver?
Maybe if you do have a form that they do already fill out, maybe just add a note on there saying that it's going to be recorded. And
oh, that's a good idea, because we do have a form in their lab that they have to participate as both MRT and patient.
yeah, and just say there's
a good idea. We'll just add that onto that.
Yeah, and just say there could be a chance that it could be recorded, and please sign.
Yeah, thanks. I'll make those changes.
Amy, there's a question or a statement or a note here from Diane. My students liked Amy's videos. They were viewing them for extra support. They still attended class.
Yeah. It wasn't a factor. And I mean, Diane can attest to, they skipped, but was it because the videos were going to be offered to them afterwards? No, right? So, if anybody's interested in any type of video, I just highlighted here today what I've done. You can contact me. I can get you in touch with the right people. We've talked a little bit more about broader scale videos, so I could include Jeff Tronchmontang as a contact here. But if you just contact me, I know we're a small group here, and everybody in the group in this webinar knows everybody down here, I think. So you can sign out the equipment, you can come down to the hub, use the equipment, sign up with Jeff. Jeff is itching and looking for more projects all the time. He loves going to shoot stuff and make these learning objects, and that's what he's here for. So lots of people across the college are utilizing that, and I think the feedback from all the students and faculty too, it's really lightening. I was talking to Serge about using the QR codes and the students just using their cell phones. One of the other feedback things that he said is that it's really opened up some time for him to spend more meaningfully with the students, instead of having to say, this is how you turn this on, you know, answering the same questions over and over and over again. He can provide more meaningful feedback.
Diane had added another note here. My students asked me to have Amy make videos for their third exam.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because the students in Diane's class didn't know me. They just started to get to know me. I mean, we have they had my picture on our Moodle page as my face. This is the instructors. Diane and I were there, so they knew my face, and then they started to get to know my voice over the video. So yeah, it was the students they were very, and again, like I said, at the exam, they were very sweet. I had not my students coming up to me thanking me for the videos that they rewatched over and over and over. So it was great.
And a great opportunity too for departments to collaborate on creating these videos. Like, it doesn't have to just be one person making all the videos. It can be a team, or if one person is comfortable, they can help set up the team. Even just taking like a day as a group to hammer out some videos together.
And that's another thing that I'll say about the team down here with my secondment is, and being a little intimidated with some of the technology, is that they're really great. They'll go at your own pace, but then they also push you to like, okay, let's just do the video right now. What do you mean, Sarah? We're going to do the video right now. Let's just do the video, and it turns out great. And it's they'll push you where you need to be pushed, and you grow from that. So it's really been great working with everybody down here. So the only thing I can say to other faculty who maybe are watching this recording is come on down, send an email, just get started somehow. Go to our website. There's a million things on the website to start learning about. Go to the Hub Studio, take a look at all the things that you can start applying in your classroom or outside of your classroom, like the topic of today.
And once you see how easy it is, you kind of get hooked, and you start to see the potential and how you can spread that around to the other classes. And
the hook is the students. The students are going, oh my gosh,
they love it. They love it.
Yeah.
And a great thing to add to that, and Jessica O'Reilly would definitely echo this, is students don't necessarily care about how rudimentary your video looks. As long as they're getting the information they need, it doesn't have to be Hollywood. It doesn't have to be, you know, shot with like all this lighting and everything. Like, as long as they get the information they need, they don't care about the vehicle. They don't care about how it looks or you know, the one thing that we do emphasize though, if you are going to be narrating your videos, make sure you're using a microphone, or be in a quiet location if you don't have a microphone. So because audio is actually more important than video. It's kind of a weird way of thinking about it, but your brain can kind of fill in the gaps with the visual pieces, but the audio is really, really important when you're recording video, if you're incorporating audio into that video.
All right, everybody. So if there aren't any other questions, we'll be signing off.
Thanks, everyone.